Good morning.
So first up, we have to ask you, cinema therapy, movie therapy, actually what's the difference?
Actually, it's the same thing. We got feedback after we did our training with Dr. Solomon that in Singapore people kind of thought that the word cinema therapy was a bit cheem. And so they said...
Complicated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they said, can you, make it something easier? So we just fastened on movie therapy.
So movie therapy, cinema therapy is the same thing. What are you trying to do with movies? How do you teach parents?
Well, what we do is that we look for suitable section or move in a given movie, look for the right clip, and then we take it out and then we show it to the parents. And when the parents actually watch it, what it does is that it induces an awareness in them. For example, if they see another parent in a movie talking to their children, it'll remind them of their behavior and their interaction, and then this will make them realize, oh, you know what? I just did that myself. And that'll help them, because then it'll also help them to be in tune with their children and how they feel. And this is how it creates, many learning moments for the parents to become better
So you're
parents.
saying that would be movies which I guess, about families and parenting, where people can identify with what they see. But then we also know Finding Nemo, for instance. That's another show that you use examples from as well. No real people in that. I mean, I don't relate to being a fish,
Right.
So how would a movie like Finding Nemo, for instance, what kind of messages would that have for a parent?
Well, if you take that little clip, that was shown, you see a dialogue between, the little fish and the parent fish. And what we're focusing on here is just the kind of values that the parent is trying to impart into his son. And when you just show that little section, you can just draw a lot of life lesson and apply it to them.
In the case of Finding Nemo, the father fish's wife had been killed in a tragic accident, I think eaten by a barracuda or something. And so it made him become overly protective. So the whole point of Nemo is that the dad had to learn to back off and let his child grow up, which is actually something we teach a lot of parents.
But when you go to the movies and you watch all these, whether it's family titles or animation, don't you realize it as you watch the movies, or do you actually have to go through the therapeutic way and make a conscious effort to recognize that perhaps I am in that situation?
Well, we do both. We actually have a very good team that we've put together. And sometimes, I get a movie because someone has recommended to me. And sometimes we actively search out, for a different scene. And so we have a database that's growing all the time. And so it's a mixture of both.
Just recently, after we did one of our parenting nights, we've been doing a series recently, one of the women came up to me. We had shown a Cantonese movie from Hong Kong, and she had seen it in the cinema, but she said, wow, I didn't get those parenting insights from the movie. I'm going to go home and watch that again.
That's right.
I guess because the sessions will actually help you delve in it a little more and go a little deeper and reflect on your own doings and actions.
It's a bit like literature, you study the text, you kind of look for the deeper meaning. But when you think about it, I mean, sometimes the movies were made just for entertainment. I mean, they have no idea you guys are doing movie therapy, not catered for. So is that the beauty of it, in the sense that I guess you're taking very... I don't know, a commercial, real-life examples, things that are already out there, to try and show people the kind of relation they can have with reality in that sense.
I've often thought that I should write Adam Sandler a letter and say, I don't know if you know this, but you've actually changed a lot of people's lives for the better. I thought maybe he would get a kick out of that.
So the selection of movies is very particular as well, because I can't imagine I don't know, Die Hard movie being especially useful for parenting tips.
No, we have to be very careful, obviously, what movies we select. But you would be amazed. Sometimes a drama movie, and the plot may be all about uncovering something deep, but then you see a little family interaction. Maybe the hero comes home and there's a tiff with his wife, and then the kids are there, and so we just focus on that section and then bring out the points.
But not all movies or the same clip that we see will have the same effect on other people, because you have different hot buttons that will be triggered as you watch something, and even if you want them to take away one message, they might just take away the opposite message. I mean, how do you deal with that?
Well, that's actually the beauty of it. We don't stereotype all the messages. We don't say, well, in this section the only message is this. We actually allow for tremendous flexibility and for them to actually, use their thinking and interpret it as they wish. But we also, narrow it down to a few things as well, so that we can use it as a teaching tool.
So every time, I presume, the two of you, when you go into the cinemas and new movies or blockbusters are there on offering, you go in there to analyze and study.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We actually do it both, and it's not like when we do it from the point of view of trying to get a life lesson. We don't get entertained either. I mean, it's actually both. I enjoy movie, but as I watch it, I think, now that's a good section. I could use that.
It becomes second nature.
Right.
So is there a part where parents and children hang out together and go through the program?
It depends on the movie. For instance, with the Chicken Little clip, I'm not sure if you were able to see it, but there's a part where the dad has not believed in the son, and the son is so frustrated, and finally he tells his dad off in a very sweet scene. And he says, "You never believed in me, Dad." And I think one of the things I use that movie for is to help parents learn how to instill self-esteem in their children by believing in them. And I've often said, especially to parents here in Asia, that quite often the children are not as outspoken as perhaps the little American chicken was in that movie. And so maybe your child is feeling that but wouldn't have the courage to say it to you. So I've actually encouraged the parents to then go home and rent or buy that film, watch it with their child, and after they've just had fun watching it together as a family, show that little scene again and say, "Have I ever made you feel that way?" And that would open up a nice dialogue.
A very important equation of the parenting formula is children itself, right? So do you get children to watch the videos and then give you feedback on did anything click with you?
Right.
Did you find anything?
Well, it depends on their age. I think with younger children, it's difficult. They don't look at movies as a learning time, as a learning tool. But with teenagers, it's very, very helpful. So, they get a lot out of it. And sometimes you show the same movie, both the teenager and the parent, and then you can create a dialogue. It's a good icebreaker. Because sometimes when you put the parent and teenagers together, they don't know what to say,
That's right.
And the teenagers are really scared, and the parents are like, what do you really feel? How do you feel it? And, this is the answer they get.
You want to know how I feel? Watch this clip.
That's right.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much, Bo, for coming in and shedding light on this. John and Karen there, movies, more than just entertainment. In fact, it can help us become better parents and better human beings, I guess.
Well, it just gives you a chance to talk about something that, a common interest that will open the door for who knows what.
It's easier to bring up a subject which might be difficult at other times. Okay.